Let's bring it back to the point that when Iron Man 1 took place and Obadiah Stane was talking about what he did in that cave, she was 3 years old. The entirety of the Marvel Universe from phase 1 through 3 happened when that girl was between the age of 3 and probably 14, 15 years old. The last big thing that they really know about is the events of Endgame and the sacrifice that Tony and them made. But let's be real, when you were 19, 18, 16, 17 years old, how much did you know about the legacy of Bill Gates? How much did you know about all the crazy shit that Bill Gates was able to do in between times when he was on the news or anything like that when you were 16? You didn't, because that's not something that you're going to follow. You're just going to listen to what the media tells you about this person. That's all you got to go off of. Riri was never privileged enough to be an Avenger. She wasn't able to get up there. The reason why Peter was so special is because he was the only person who was of that age that knows everything that went down. Like, nobody's given this character a chance to develop into a person that understands what it really takes to be a hero, and the fact that, yeah, sometimes you got to bend the rules, but you got to bend the rules in a way that won't damage society as a whole. Tony literally had to figure that out throughout his like entire walk as a character. He didn't figure that out until the day he killed himself. So, like, everybody's sitting up here saying Riri should already know these things and blah 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 blah. It doesn't make any freaking sense. And I don't want to say blatantly that it's just a black person thing, or it's a woman thing or something like that. I just think people have a terrible, terrible like sense of media literacy. The perspective in which we're watching the show is kind of from the perspective of a watcher, like, those ultimate beings that we've seen so much that was in the What If show and stuff like that. Somebody who's existing so far in a part of the universe, they exist in a dimension in which they can look at other dimensions, and they get profound levels of knowledge about things that's happening to multiple characters in multiple places that nobody else with inside of those worlds really possess. Not everybody knows the amount of information that the watchers know besides us, because we're the viewers from the perspective of them. There, we're kind of like, if anything, you could consider Marvel as this situation where a watcher is sitting with us, telling us the story about all of these universes. So if you're surprised, why is it that Riri don't know what happened in the third movie? Why is it that Kamala Khan doesn't understand all the stuff that Carol Danvers actually has to go through? It's because they were on Earth and they were 15 years old and they were just focused on being 15 until shit got crazy. And then they're coming to learn everything as they go through life like we do. These characters are actually really well written. The story actually makes a lot of sense, but a lot of y'all are just kind of head